Hi, welcome to Ask Me About Dyslexia. My name is Pam Spock and I'm a dyslexia specialist. I'm also the mom of a young man who is dyslexic, my son. And today is his story about dyslexia. I had always wanted to homeschool my kids. So when they were preschool age, I decided to start and do it kind of on a trial basis, just see how it goes before it really counted. So I set up a little classroom area and we did the pledges and we did our alphabet and we did little papers and it didn't work out like I thought. For some reason, my son was not picking it up. I thought maybe it's a personality clash. For some reason, I just can't teach this kid. Maybe I gave up too soon, but I decided to send him to preschool the next year for a 4-year-old preschool. And it was a great decision. He had a wonderful preschool teacher and he enjoyed it and it was great. And so I was like, okay, maybe I just can't homeschool. That's fine. I'll send him to school. Then he went to kindergarten and he did okay. He had a wonderful kindergarten teacher and he did okay. Not great, but okay. No real cause for alarm. And then he went to first grade and papers started coming home that he did not finish during the school day. And I would work with him on those papers in the evening and it would take forever. And he would get frustrated and I would get frustrated. And at the time, I thought that he just has ADHD. My husband has ADD or ADHD. It runs in his family. I thought that's the problem. He can't learn because he can't focus. So I just assumed that if we could just get him to pay attention better, that he could learn. And I tried to discipline him better. I tried to have better structure. I tried to have routine. I tried to work with him. Nothing was really working. And every day a pile of papers would get sent home that was not finished. He had worked through class and recess and had still not finished. So we were left to do it at home. Second grade, same thing. Working on it at recess, stacks of papers getting sent home in the afternoon. And by this time I was teaching 5th grade, and so I was teaching kids all day, working in my classroom in the afternoon, and then coming home to try to help him in the evening. It was a battle every night. And I thought, I am not a good parent. I can't help him. I don't know what's going on here. And he was so frustrated. He was defeated. In 3rd grade, just a few weeks into the school year, I pulled his teacher aside and I said, look, if you think that there is something going on here other than ADHD, would you please let me know? And the reason that I said that is because I know as a teacher that sometimes we are reluctant to bring things up with parents unless we're absolutely sure, because parents don't always take it very well. Ideally, they will be glad that you told them and so they can do something to fix it. But not everybody's like that, and you do want to be certain that there is a problem before you say anything when you're a teacher. So I gave her the freedom to tell me what exactly her concerns were. And she told me that he was at the top of her list for those that were showing the signs of dyslexia. You could have knocked me over with a feather, because, as you may remember, if you have watched my video about how I got into working with kids who have dyslexia, I had been learning about dyslexia for the past couple years through students who I had and a workshop that I had gone to learn about dyslexia. I was able to spot dyslexia right off the bat in 5th graders, but I didn't recognize it in my own son. I had assumed that he couldn't learn because he couldn't focus, because he probably had ADD, which we, by the way, were not treating, because, to be honest with you, I didn't believe in it. That'll be another video for another day, but let's just say that at the time I didn't quite understand as much about the brain as I do now, and I did not believe in ADD as if it was a religion that you believe in or not. And I just thought that if kids would just try harder to pay attention, then they could do it. Or if they had been parented better, they could do it. Or if the teacher had better discipline in her classroom, the child could be fine. Those are all wrong. And I'll probably do a video about that. But he had undiagnosed and untreated ADHD, and here the teacher was saying that she thought he was showing the signs of dyslexia. Well, we decided to have him screened right away. As I mentioned in that other video, my friend Becky, who is a certified academic language therapist, did his screening, and I was just amazed when she went over the screening tools that she used with him, the difficulties that he had. And it turned out that he has moderate to severe dyslexia and moderate dysgraphia. So many emotions came because of this. I was relieved to know that there was a reason he wasn't doing well and that there was something that we could do about it. So I had hope. And there was also mourning what I had thought my kids would be like in school. I was a good student and I liked school for the most part. I didn't always like the other kids in school because of how I was treated, but I liked learning and I liked reading, and I was a teacher. I liked school so much that I never left. So I had to mourn the death of that dream for my kids. Not that my son couldn't learn to love learning again and eventually come to enjoy reading, but it wasn't going to be like it was for me. And something else that I felt was regret that I hadn't done something sooner. But that's all water under the bridge now. Next came when we needed to tell him that he had dyslexia. I wasn't quite sure how to go about it, and then not long after I had met with Becky to get the results from the screening, the perfect opportunity presented itself. He was trying to work on something from school at home, and he was getting very frustrated, and he was calling himself stupid and beating his head on the table and saying, "Why can't I learn? Why am I so stupid? Why can't I learn?" And I said, "Do you want to know why you can't learn? Why you're having such a hard time?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "You have something called dyslexia. It means that you have a hard time reading and spelling. And it means that you're smart in other ways. It's just hard for you in school. And we're going to get you the help that you need." He was in 3rd grade at the time, and I didn't know how he was going to take it, how much he would understand and how it would affect him. But he burst into tears with relief to know what the problem was. Parents, please find out what the problem is and tell your kids so they can know, because not knowing is the worst thing, especially for dyslexia, because there is hope. There is something that you can do. You can get the right kind of help, and it will help. It should help. So not long after that, as you heard about in my other video, I'll put a link to that down below in case you haven't seen it yet, I started to learn about how to help him. I took one training seminar, and then I started using the Barton system, and he has improved. He has definitely improved since we started. And I've been working with him in some form or fashion for about 3.5 years. And I've now gotten to the point where I think it's good. He does have accommodations in school, which are just as valuable as the tutoring. Accommodations with remediation is what kids who have dyslexia need. And so the teachers have been great about accommodations. He is a smart kid. He just needs those accommodations. He still struggles. He still hates school. But we're getting there. Something that also goes along with dyslexia and ADHD often is something called executive function disorder. I think he's got that too. For a long time, pretty much his whole life, I have not been able to give him more than one instruction at a time. If I told him to get his shoes and belt on, I would have to check on him a few minutes later, and maybe one of those was done, but probably neither. So at first I thought it was a obedience problem. Why won't he obey? Other kids manage to get things done when their parents give them multiple directions. I guess I'm just not a very good parent. That's another thing that I've had to go through and learn, is that executive function is the ability to get things done, the ability to get started, the ability to follow multiple steps. Not there. I have to tell him one thing and then call him back Tell him one more thing and call him back. Tell him one more thing and call him back. So he also is very easily overwhelmed by large tasks. And so I have to give him things in very small pieces. If I tell him to clean his room, nothing is going to happen. I have to say, okay, pick up all your dirty clothes. Now pick up all the trash. Now make your bed. Now straighten up this shelf. So in addition to the struggles that he has in school related to reading and spelling and attention issues, which, oh, by the way, starting in 4th grade, we decided to do something about the ADHD, and he started taking medicine, and oh, that made such a difference. Such a difference. Another regret of my life is not doing something about that sooner. I'll probably have to make a video about this because there's a lot of people who were like me, who are like the way that I was, not really believing that ADHD is real, that they just need to try harder, that medicine is just a crutch. If your brain needs it, it needs it. It'd be like me not being allowed to wear glasses so that I could see. It would be like not giving a diabetic insulin. It's like not giving somebody with a broken leg crutches. If you need it, you need it. But I'll make another video about that another day. So, between medicine for the ADD, me tutoring him, and his accommodations, he's doing much, much better. We've learned a lot about dyslexia since he was diagnosed, and he is able to spot it in other people. Comedians on TV. He'll be watching, he's like, I think that guy has dyslexia. My poor son can't even say the word dyslexia. He says dyslexia, or he did for a long time. He might be saying it right now. He's in 6th grade now, so, or ready to finish 6th grade, going into 7th grade. I've tried to encourage him with the positive side of dyslexia, that it's a gift, that though you may be weak in reading and spelling and some other areas, that there's other things that you're really strong in. And it's hard for him to see it right now. And he's still young, and so someday I'm sure that I'll be able to look back and be thankful for it. To be completely honest with you, I'm not there yet. But I'm just going to trust, because there's all these people who have done amazing things with their lives, who struggled terribly in school, and they're stronger because of the fight, and they have wonderful gifts. And I will say that my son seems to have an interest in taking things apart and modifying them. If he gets a Nerf gun, let's say that he ordered a Nerf gun from Amazon, before he even orders it, he knows how he's going to modify it when it arrives. This is something that I don't understand, because I always kept things in pristine condition. If he gets a Lego set, he'll build it according to the directions, and then he will immediately take it apart and make something else, and then take that apart and make something else. That is a completely foreign concept to me. I still have Legos in their original box, exactly as I built them 30 some odd years ago. But that's not how he's wired. He likes to take things apart and make them a different way. He has recently started trying to fix things himself. And he's very creative with how he creates things and fixes them. So I think that his strength lies somewhere in there. My husband, who is dyslexic, is gifted with computers. He can take them apart and put them together. He completely understands how they work. His dad, who is also dyslexic, is gifted in how things work. He can fix anything. So I'm guessing that my son probably has a gift somewhere in there. He also loves cars. He can name any car that drives by just like that. And I'm doing good to remember what kind of car I drive. So, I don't know. Maybe someday he'll end up working on cars or something. I don't know. The Lord only knows. So I hope that you have enjoyed my story about how we found out about my son's dyslexia and how things have gone since then. I got a little emotional there because it was a tough thing to go through, and it still is. But we have learned to deal with it. We have learned to cope with it, and that's one of the reasons that I have this channel, is because I think that I have learned a lot through the experience that can help other parents. Often when I meet with parents, I end up sharing my son's experiences and our experiences with my son so that they can relate to it. So they will understand, this is what we do and this is what works. Or this is how we knew. Or I know exactly how you feel because. So I guess that some takeaways from this would be learn as much as you can. If you think there's a problem, don't be afraid to ask the teacher, because that gives the teacher more permission to be open and frank with you. Don't wait, because the sooner you do something, the better off they'll be. And one final thought is that despite all the difficulty, I am thankful that we have gone through this, because it has helped me to be so much more understanding. It has helped me to be a better teacher. It has led me into a new career path where I am able to help kids who have dyslexia that I never would have been on if it hadn't been for my son. And I'm thankful that we have personally gone through it so that I understand what parents are going through, and when they describe what's going on with their child, I can relate to it. So though I never would have chosen this for my son, I know that he is going to come through this just fine, that he will find something once he gets through school that he can do that utilizes his strengths, and we're going to do the best that we can until then. So thanks for sticking with me through this story. Have a great day.